Today we're going to look at driving motors and robots from the Raspberry Pi. So what you'll need for this is some motors. So two of these yellow motors, you pick them up on eBay for a couple of euros. A battery box with AA batteries, again eBay. Some jumper leads, a Raspberry Pi, and a chassis. So this is the first chassis I ever used. As you can see, it's just a plastic box. So there's a couple of holes punched in it for the motors. The motors are actually set on the outside of it, like that. I have a bent spoon that I used for a caster. So there's that one. You can use something like that. I also got some of these kits. They're four-wheel drive robots. Okay, and these will be wired up the exact same way as the two-wheel drive one. But for today, I'm going to use this one, which is a chassis we 3D printed for a project about 2 years ago. Okay, so you need your wheels, your motors, all wired up, and last but by no means least, the most important thing we need is some sort of an interface between the Raspberry Pi and the motors. If you connect a motor directly to your Raspberry Pi, you're going to burn it out. Okay, so you need something like this. This basically acts as a switch. So I'll show you a little drawing of it here, or a picture of it here. Down a little bit closer. Okay. So it's got 4 inputs here, 4 outputs here, and plus and minus where the battery is connected. So you connect your battery up to the plus and minus. Input 1 and input 2 will drive motor A. So these are connected to 2 pins on the Raspberry Pi. And if you set input 1 high and input 2 low, it'll drive the motor forward. If you set input 1 low, input 2 high, it'll drive the motor backwards. And then input 3 and input 4 connect to motor B, and they work the same way. So 3 high, 4 low, forward, 4 high, 3 low, backwards. Okay? We're going to just start off by just driving one motor with our Raspberry Pi. Okay. So you can see on our chassis, we've already got our control board. Actually, if you can pick these up on eBay as well, like they're only a couple of euros from China, or if you want to get one from faster from say the UK or Europe, they're probably 6 or 7 euros. If you search for L298in on eBay or something, you should have loads of options. Now there's tons of different types of boards, and even just the bare chip if you want, but they all work the same way. Like 4 inputs from the Raspberry Pi, 4 outputs to the motors, and the same code will work for everything. Okay, so let's wire this up a little bit. Let me see what happens. So we've got our Raspberry Pi here. So actually, let's have a quick look at the code and see what pins we're using. Just move this a little bit so we can see. Okay, now. So I've got some code already written. We're going to use GPIO 0 again. We're going to import motor this time. So just be careful when you're writing the code. Capital M for motor, okay, or uppercase M. So motor equals, so motor in this case is lowercase m. Motor equals motor, and then forward equals 4 and backwards equals 14. So basically if we set 4 high and 14 low, it'll go forwards. If we set 14 high and 4 low, it'll go backwards. Okay, but we don't need to do that because GPIO 0 does this already for us anyways. So let's wire it up to those pins. Okay, so that's that hidden. So we'll get our, so we can see everything. Okay. Now, okay, so we've got our wires from our motor. You just see here. Okay, so let's pick those up first. Now, when you connect these up, sometimes it's hard to know whether your motor will go forward or backwards, because depending on which way they're connected. So we may have to swap them around later on, but it's not a big deal. Then we'll connect our inputs. So input 1, input 2, so pin 4, GPIO pin 4 to be more precise. It's actually pin 4, it's pin 7, but and GPIO 14, which is pin 8. Next we'll wire our battery. Just leave our battery here on the, so red to plus, black to minus. Now we need to earth or to ground all our earth, so that we'll have to connect this to a ground on the Raspberry Pi as well. If we don't do this, we sometimes end up getting really weird results because things are floating higher or whatever. Okay, so okay, so I need to put something under the robot to stop it, just so the wheels can turn freely without it driving off the desk or pulling wires or whatever. Okay, just something like that will do the job. Okay, so sorry about the glare on this picture. These out of the way as well. Now, okay, let's run the code and see what happens. There we go, our wheel's going forward and our wheel's going backwards. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Okay, so let's connect up the other motor and see what happens. Okay, so just get these two through. Two motor leads connected. So we actually need to see the robot code so we know what pins to use. Here's our robot Pi. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at the code while we're here. So from GPIO 0 import robot, again capital or uppercase R, lowercase robot or lowercase r robot equals to uppercase robot left 414, right 717. So again, we're keeping the same pins as we had for our motor 4 and 14 for the left motor, and our right motor is going to be it's going to use 17 and 18, and then we just have a few basic commands: robot forward, robot backward, robot left, and robot right. And these obviously just do exactly as they say. So to drive the robot forward, you turn both wheels forward. To drive the robot backwards, you turn both wheels backwards. For left, you'll turn the left wheel forward and the right wheel backwards, and for right you turn the right wheel forwards and the left wheel backwards. Okay, so let's stick in the connectors, the jumper leads. So we've got 1, so input 3, input 4, and 17, GPIO 17 and GPIO 18. Okay. So we've got our robot ready to go, and let's run the code again. Okay, so you can see there that the wheels are actually going the wrong direction. So like I was saying, it's very hard to judge what way the wires should be connected, because they're not only opposite each other, they're actually mirror images of each other. So you kind of need to think like in 3 different steps, not just, you know, they're obviously not going to be the same. But and also when I was wiring these on, I didn't actually wire all the same color connectors to the same color pins, so that's another level of confusion. Okay, so let's run that again. So now both wheels should go forward for forward. All these things are no big deal, but it's just something to be aware of, not to go messing with the code, like, rather than to think first that is everything wired up okay. There we go, both wheels going forward, both wheels going backwards, left and right. Okay, that's it. See you all next time. Thanks for watching.